That's why you gotta go before we start, man.
I know.
See how this one goes. The mood is right. The spirit's up. We're here tonight. And that's enough. Simply having a wonderful Ramblecast. Simply having a wonderful Ramblecast. Yeah, so I just did a short one.
Well, you know what? So did Chris.
Yeah, for real.
So.
Yeah, gents, I don't think I'm making it tonight. I don't know. Well, to be fair to Chris, I didn't send a group in the group text. I didn't say what night, because we had talked about Thursday. So
yeah,
I just figured he'd see it in the Facebook thing, or he's maybe still in San Diego. I don't know.
It could be.
I wanted to see if he went to Mark Hamill's street.
I think that's the least of his concerns. Like he seemed like he had 0 F's to give every time you mentioned it.
Really?
I don't know.
Some fan he is.
I mean, I think I've never thought about it as many times as I've been to San Diego, but if I was in the area, I'd be like, oh yeah, let's go over to Mark Hamill Street.
I'm always in the area and I always forget. I'm like a mile away. I just always go, oh fuck, I didn't go see the street again. God damn it.
Your RCAD versus artwork this week is very poignant. It says I don't versus listen.
Yeah.
So I think both apply to Chris.
That's true. Yeah.
Sorry, I'm just shitting on Chris. I was looking forward to seeing him. I was looking forward to seeing him.
He was at the beach. I recognize the beach he was at. And
yeah, that was like a week ago. I mean, come on, get with the program. It's every Thursday night. Pavlov's dog.
There was nobody there at that beach.
Mm-mm.
It must be down
that one guy
in the tent, right?
Yeah.
Oh, the one guy he was stalking.
Yeah. Because it did look at the photo he sent. That's my immediate thought. I was like, oh, it's just an empty beach. And then the one person that's in it's like center of the photo far away. I'm like, are you stalking that guy?
Yeah, you said it. And I was like, maybe he is. Because usually Pacific Beach is packed. A lot of bars down there. A lot of, it's a cool beach to go to. So anyway.
Cool beach, man.
Cool beach. But that's it. That's all I got. Thanks.
All right. Yeah, that was a good Christmas holiday extravaganza that we got here for you.
Because this is our last show of the 2023 season, guys.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, so because
we made last week's extra long, so this one can be a itty bitty one.
Even I was shocked how long last week's went. I was like, because I thought, the 3 of us, we'll do an hour 20 something, and ended up just going 2.
People love hearing about us talk about our random shit.
Yeah.
So, speaking of random shit, I've got a big announcement. It's pretty big. Okay.
How big is it?
It's been a year in the making.
Ooh.
I'm done with Star Trek. I've watched
okay.
I've all of it.
I was trying to think, okay, is he moving?
What's going on here?
Has he found another podcast?
Guys, I found another podcast. It's better. It's better than us.
Oh, that's not hard to do.
No, I was, I started this back when I got COVID a year ago. Now, the funny thing is I finished the last episode, and that day my throat felt sore. And I was like, oh, shit. Wouldn't that be funny if I got COVID?
So you watched every episode,
every TV show,
Star Trek,
every movie,
every movie,
every TV show, every movie. Yep. So I started with Next Generation, and I kind of worked my way around all of it. Although I sprinkled in some of the current stuff. Now, I probably could have gotten through it a lot faster if I didn't fall asleep through half of the fucking shows. I mean, Jesus, you're looking at some of these shows and it's like a mountain. You're like, fuck, 7 seasons.
Next Generation, that was the one after the original, right?
Correct. Yep. So it went classic. Then, yes, actually, Matt K, I finished with the cartoon. That was I did because the cartoon was meant to be the fourth season, or it had stories that they had considered for
Of the
the fourth
original.
season of the original. And it has the voices of all of the actors.
Oh,
I
nice.
think sans a couple maybe that didn't, but some of them it's like, oh, you're just using Uhura. That sounds like Uhura for this actress. You know, it's like they use some of the voice acting multiple times.
Now,
So
have you ever met any of the actors from any of the Star Treks?
no, no. So I would have always considered myself a Trekker versus a Trekkie, but I did enjoy watching everything. I approach life now as though it's a Star Trek episode, and the fact that I'm like, what is this strange anomaly, sir? It's like, is it a godlike being that is going to question our humanity, or is it going to try to destroy civilization as we know it? The cartoon was fun. I think that some of the storylines towards the end of the original classic Star Trek got pretty funny, like when they introduced Abraham Lincoln. I was like,
In the
what?
cartoon?
No, this was in the live action. This
Oh.
is like maybe the second to the last episode of the original run.
Oh, that's right. Okay.
Abraham Lincoln shows up and he calls Uhura a negress. And you're like,
Oh, wow.
you're like, whoa.
Did Dr. McCoy come over and try to fix his head?
And then he mansplains like something. And I'm like, what the? They clearly spent a lot of money on the makeup of Lincoln because they really wanted to get, but the way he moves, he looks like he could be the animatronic Lincoln from Disneyland. Like it's just, there's so much makeup on the actor to try to get him to look exactly like a photograph.
I need to do a rewatch of the original. I've not seen it in years.
Yeah, you'll fall asleep.
It's always on.
I know.
Why are you not watching?
It's always on, but
it's always on.
But I've seen it 100 times. It's one of those things where
you'll be surprised because some episodes it's like you're like, I know this, like the result of this, you know, it's like I know what's going to take place, and yet you're still kind of like, wait, what's going to happen next? How are they
in the cartoon was Captain Kirk, was he fucking
everything that
moved?
No, but there is one episode though where this girl, Sana, is that her name? I don't know. She's meant to be kind of like a jungle woman, kind of like looking like bounty huntress kind of woman. And she's basically getting randy with Kirk. She's like, hey, we've got some time. Seriously. And I'm like, this isn't a cartoon. In the cartoon, at some point, there's Satan gets involved, and they go to Salem witch trials, and there's all of this stuff. And at the episode ends with Spock saying, hey, Kirk, in all of the other instances with Satan, you know, he was a fallen angel, but you actually saved him. So it's like this weird moral, like, so Kirk saves Satan. Hail Satan. It's so bizarre to me.
So I think it was in Shatner's contract that he had to have sex with every actress.
Basically, every girl that shows up, you're basically like, okay. And then if they do make eyes at Spock, and Spock's like fascinating, you're like, oh, they're definitely, this is going to be a Spock-centric episode where it's all about him getting hooked up. Now, there's one where Scotty falls smitten with a girl, and of course something fucked up happens to her, and he's just like, we gotta save the lass, you know, and he's just doing everything.
Was she wearing a red shirt at the time?
No, I think she actually wears blue.
Oh, blue. Okay.
She was in a blue uniform. So and I think she did live, but you know, they couldn't work out their differences. Like she was, at some point he was just like, yeah, you just got to get your space legs. Like
he was Irish, she was British, probably, right?
Scottish.
That's right, Scottish.
That's okay. That would
get fucked up. That just ruined my whole joke. But anyway,
well, you'll also, if you
maybe it's William Wallace.
If you watch it at some point, Scotty changes his hairstyle. It's more of a slicked back, like he was going for more of a slick back Elvis look. I don't know, but that it was NBC execs that had actually asked this or had this request, and then he didn't like it, and then he went back to combing his hair down, which is how he usually did it. So anyway,
yeah, because because going back to William Shatner, all the guest stars, actresses were always attractive.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, that's the aliens. It's like the original BSG. Luckily, all the girls that looked like models survived the Cylon attack.
It's amazing how many aliens, really, in the classic series. And I'm saying from Kirk's point of view, they were very fuckable.
Yeah, they were. Even the green one.
I mean, it's amazing too. Like they're like on an ice planet, right? And this woman's trying to get with Spock, and she's like takes off her bare like coat, and like she's like really skimpy outfit underneath, and you're like, wait, how does this work for your civilization? It's freezing cold outside, but these geothermal vents in your caves, like it's like a sauna in here. We could just like shagadelic, baby.
Yeah.
There's a hippie band that shows up at some point in the this third season. I think the third season gets weirder in some ways, but much in the same way that Star Wars could with the cartoons, I think the animated show actually takes it in some places that they could never
It was probably
go.
cheaper doing the animated one.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they used a lot of the cells again and again. You're like, wait, but that's the same.
Right.
It almost works better to listen to it as opposed to watching it, because after a while, it's just kind of, I mean, it's cool, but some of the animation is just like, okay, let's speed this up. We animated them walking, but now we're just going to speed it up so it looks like they're running, and it doesn't work. It's just so clunky. So,
well, when did the cartoon come out?
I think it's 74.
Oh, yeah. So technology wasn't really.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, no, it's pre Star Wars for sure. I think watching Star Trek 2 with so much Star Wars lexicon or knowledge, it's interesting to see what influenced Star Trek, and then at some point the flip happens where Star Wars is influencing Star Trek.
Mm-hmm.
Yes,
and just to round out my watch, and it's kind of hard to turn it off now because it's like it's been my security blanket. It's my easy thing to go to and fall asleep to at night. I decided to watch the motion picture and the final what is it, the fifth one?
Oh, Final Frontier.
I watched both of those because I was like, which one is worse?
Oh, the fifth.
I think
the movie, the motion picture.
I think the motion picture, and why I have to go with that is that there's at least 30 minutes of just filler music.
Yeah.
The moment where Kirk is just looking at the Enterprise for the first time, it's got to be 10 minutes of them just circling around the ship.
That was my complaint when I first saw it. I go, okay, we get it. We get it. You're having an orgasm over the Enterprise.
Right. And
speed this thing up.
Yeah, and then at the end, he's just like, "Oh, thanks for that, Scotty. Anytime, Captain." You know, it's like, what the fuck? Like, and then, I mean, the only cool thing maybe about the motion picture is the fact that we actually have a transporter malfunction in which someone dies horrifically,
horribly. Yeah,
horribly.
I've only seen it once.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
and that's when I saw it at the theater. And again, I've said this before. I waited in line for 4 fucking hours for this thing. And I will always remember when they were just I go, do they think the fans are that fat? I mean, yeah, it was cool to see it, but eventually it's like, okay, let's get to
the music
story.
To it too. It's like Flight of the Bumblebee. It's just, and it's like it keeps revealing.
It just didn't need to be that long of a.
No, you're for sure.
And seen it. The whole movie was that way though.
It was
it's like, hey, we're back, and it's like. It wasn't about making a movie.
No.
Yeah. It was about showing we're back. And it's like, okay, let's get to the action.
And honestly, like much of the movies deals with Kirk's own like male like issues with not being captain anymore. He's got this midlife crisis. Every single movie, he's got a midlife crisis. I just can't give up this fucking ship. Let's blow it up.
Right.
Well, Klingons are after us again. What do we do?
Yeah, I think that's a running theme 1, 2, 3, and 4. You know, and that one, he's old, he shouldn't be a captain, but that's his position. And it finally comes full circle at the end of 4th. You know, where they demote him from admiral to.
And we're captain. Giving you command of the Enterprise. Right. Cheers, buddy. Don't blow this one up.
Yeah. Exactly. I don't know. I mean, I there's things I appreciate about both the motion picture and number 5. There's definitely sequences that are very good at them both.
Yeah,
but I don't know. Fifth one to me is just, it's so painful to watch at times.
Which one was the 5th one?
It's one where they're trying to find God.
Spock.
Oh, find God.
Spock's
That's right.
Brother,
the Orca
Spock has a
one.
brother, a half brother, and
So
I
he
think
only had one
maybe the best part is when like Kirk doesn't realize that it's his half brother, and he wants Spock to shoot him, and he won't shoot him.
Right.
He's like, Captain, I couldn't shoot my brother.
Yeah.
Like, what?
He's like, it's something like, you disobeyed an order. He's like, you ordered me to kill my brother.
Right. Yeah.
But it's
And some of those things, I mean, like the whole reveal with the first movie, it's like, once you know the reveal, what is the enjoyment about watching that? It's like, watching Luke blow up the Death Star again and again is satisfying because of the editing. The editing is a lot of that.
And
the music,
the drama behind it,
and the drama behind it.
It's fast paced.
It's fast paced, and at least it's satisfying as opposed to, you're like, oh, good. Oh, we just figured out this is Voyager and Adam and Eve are going to go off and fuck. Great.
Right.
Okay.
Just
bald chick, and
bald chick, yeah.
and not Captain Kirk are going to go off and fuck.
No.
So,
yeah.
Well, Captain Kirk.
It's kind of like what we were saying. It's at that point where Star Trek is influencing Star Wars is influencing Star Trek, and I think a lot of those shots in the first one, with the reveal of the Enterprise, and then even with Spock going into the weird asshole looking thing. I think a lot of that was them kind of trying to capture those long shots that are in Star Wars. Of like, we need to show this vast space of. It just wasn't executed. I would bet that script was probably like 20 pages long, and they were like, okay, let's just fill in all this stuff.
But that's a problem. That's a problem you had with the 1, 2, 3 of Star Wars. It was more about special effects and stuff. Oh, we can do this now. We can do this now. Like you're saying about Star Trek, it was the motion picture. It was like, okay, I want some story behind it. It's the story the story is is going to sell a TV show. It's going to sell a movie. That's what people want. And nostalgia was like, okay, that's cool. You guys are back again, like I said. But it's like, okay, I'm bored. You're putting me to sleep.
Sure.
So anyway,
Well,
I'm a firm believer that the even ones are good, and then the odd ones are bad. Because
I do like
3 to me should have been like an opening sequence to another movie. Like you could have compressed number 3 into
I'm definitely in the
minutes.
George Costanza camp of I enjoy Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock. I think also too, I was a kid when I remember that coming out, so like a lot of the promotional stuff gets to me. But I like to I like to watch 2, 3, 4 as a trilogy. It's the best. Yeah. It's the best of the trilogy of it's kind of like that's a core set. Yeah. So
it is. Yeah,
but
they're all related. They're basically back.
I like the prequels.
Well, they do have prequels now of Star Trek, which is Strange New Worlds, and it's really. I think it's really exciting and invigorating for Star Trek. I actually enjoyed it a lot more than Discovery.
I was talking about the movies, but
Strange New Worlds is a prequel kind of within the Star Trek universe, because you see Kirk, you see a young Kirk, you see the Enterprise before it becomes Kirk's. You see
Pike, right?
Pike. It's kind of based around Pike. And the second season of Discovery, which the first season I've watched twice and I'll never do it again. It's just too Klingon based. And there is a cool twist and payoff in the last second half of that show. So I don't want to shit on Discovery too much. But season 2 of Discovery, what they do with that show is really kind of what becomes Strange New Worlds. And I think Strange New Worlds is it feels fun again. Like it's not, I don't know. It does have mythology, but it doesn't rely too heavy on it. And it's still got the cool factor. I think the characters, I mean, we've said that again and again, like the actors that play these characters, if they can bring the character to life and you enjoy that character, you're going to watch that show again and again. And so I think that there's a chemistry or a certain dynamic with that show. So season 2 ended on a big cliffhanger. So there's only 2 seasons of Strange New Worlds. But if you like,
I might watch that.
If you like a little bit more cowboy, Kirk, Pike is your predecessor to that in a cool way.
And I like the Pike episode on the original, because he was in the pilot.
Yeah.
And then he got some show, and that show didn't get picked. It
Yeah.
bombed. So I can't remember the whole story, but he was originally going to be, the captain, but he did the pilot, and then something happened. It's one of those things like with Tom Selleck, where he was supposed to be Indiana Jones, but he couldn't get out of his.
In the pilot, he has a number 1, and it's a female number 1, and it's actually the same actress that plays Nurse Chapel, but they changed it after the pilot. They were like, "Oh, no one would have a woman as being like in this." So in the Strange New Worlds, they make practically the entire, like not the entire cast, but he does have that same number 1. They cast her really well to kind of look like her. And so they definitely do touch on the cage. So like you know that this has happened to him on some level. So there's some episodes that definitely connect, but you could watch it without it. And when they do bring it up, they kind of let you know. They're like, here we're going here, and they kind of play you a little flashback of the original Star Trek. So anyway, Strange New Worlds is a show that, along with Lower Decks, that really got me into Star Trek. Again, I am glad that I'm done with my binge. It's
that's quite the commitment.
It's kind of a big mountain because, let me tell you, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, Enterprise was a slugfest. And Next Generation, like those are huge long shows that have 7 seasons. It's just it's a lot of episodes.
The Next Generation, I only watched like a few episodes a season.
Yeah,
I could never figure out why LeVar Burton had to wear a air filter, air filter over his face.
They really get their stride going, I'd say like by season 3. Season 1 and 2 are, it's like they're still finding their legs. And there was a whole writer that it had issues with the actress that played Beverly Crusher, so she was out in season 2, and they brought in McFadden to be the doctor in season 2. She's only in season 2, and then they bring Crusher back in season 3. And I think by that time they've introduced the Borg, and so that becomes kind of like a good foil for them. So, but Next Generation, though, I think what I enjoyed most about it is that it was very nostalgic for me to watch it, as if Jack was watching a 1960s show. It was like going back to 1990s for me. It was like, oh, this was on at a certain point in my life, and I remember
watching it.
Watching it, or just
like when I watched the Brady Bunch or something like that.
Yeah, it's like it's almost like a time machine for you. You're like, it takes you back. So anyway, that's enough of me talking about Star Trek, but I needed to make that announcement.
Well, that's congratulations. That's an accomplishment. You may be the only person to have done that.
I doubt it. I think Dan probably has watched all of Star
Dan's
Trek.
A geek. Yeah.
I mean, it is a commitment. I mean, hell, like a year ago, I think I watched all of Clone Wars again and Rebels, and even that's a commitment. I mean, I can't imagine sitting and watching everything of Star Trek. But
yeah, I mean, those classic episodes are like 50 minutes long too. Like I got to the classic, I was like, "Fuck, man, 50 minutes!" Like,
they show the whole thing.
But like the epilogues, like they have a lot more time for the falling action. But yes, you're right, Nick. I did a Star Wars mega watch with my kids one time. And we did everything chronologically.
Yeah, which is I like.
Have they seen the original Star Trek?
My son has definitely watched.
Okay.
And my daughter too. She'll pop in.
He covers his eyes though during the transporter scene.
No, like there's certain episodes that I made sure that I was like, hey, you should watch this Tribbles episode, and they do a version of that on Deep Space Nine, which is really good. It's a crossover episode. And the technology that they used, like, so you get to see 60s, you know, they use the same like footage, but then they did some CGI stuff. So it's a really well done crossover episode that Deep Space Nine does. So even if you don't watch that show, it's worth seeing kind of them, you know, in that world. So
yeah, I was even thinking about doing another BSG rewatch. It's been a couple of years.
You mean the original or the new reboot?
The new one.
Yeah,
I think
that's 20 years old.
Yeah,
it's
that's right. It is.
They celebrated. I saw a headline where it's like the mini series. You know, the two aired. You know, on this date, like December 3rd or whatever, 2003. I was like, holy shit, it's 20 years old.
I can watch. I'll watch the original. I mean, I mean, it's not. Does it hold up?
Yeah, I've tried to go back and watch those and yeah, but it doesn't. It's not the plot and the characters. It's just not as dynamic as what the new BSG.
But it is funny though. They do a lot of the BSG took a lot of the plots and put it into their thing, which is you sit there, and I had forgot about it. And I was like, oh, that's right. They did move that to here. They moved that to here. You know, they just switched up. You know, Boomer is a girl. Starbuck is a girl.
Which you know, I remember people complaining about that at first, but then it quickly went away because it was like, oh wow, it worked very well.
Not because I was anti-female. I was just like, you're messing with my show that I watched as a kid. It was only on for a season, but it was like, but then after you get into it, you go, okay, this is so well done.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Is it like people complain about it first? It's like, wait a minute, you can't replace Boomer and you know, and then, but after you get into it, you're like, oh yeah, like this actually works. It actually is good, you know, and so you kind of just let it go.
And Ronald D. Moore came from Star Trek. He had written on, I think, Next Generation, because he did a lot of the Borg stuff, if I remember correctly. Or no, he was Klingon based. That's what his thing was. He had a lot of Klingon lore, and so they used him as a writer for a lot of the Klingon episodes. But anyway, that was another show that I had thought, like, oh, once I'd get done with this, it'd be interesting to watch that, because it is kind of it's similar to Voyager too, in the fact that you have this like group that's just kind of thrown out, and they're trying to make their way home, or they're trying to get to a location. So the adventures that they have along the way, but BSG does it in such a way that's so gritty, you know.
And what they do with Baltar from
in
the original, he's just a bad guy.
Yeah.
In the reboot, he's not really a bad guy. He got duped by
he's a dude.
As an actor though.
He's saving his own ass.
What a great role.
Yeah,
because he gets to play like he got to play just about every range.
Yeah.
I know
the original, it's a cartoon type character, you know. I'm the bad guy.
Even
very Lost in Space, like
that's what I was about to say. Lost in Space, the reboot of Lost in Space, you know, changing the Doctor to a woman and having her be. I was like, oh, that's a different take too, you know.
But I mean, the original Lost in Space villain too is just such a character, kind of like you might as well have Gargamel from Smurfs. It's just like such a I'm the villain here, you know, like what am I gonna do?
Will. But also they changed this, making the Cylons human form.
Yeah,
where they weren't even the people in charge were robots, you know, type people. But Beltar was the ruler. But it was it was interesting. It was a fun show.
Well, and he with the original too, if I remember correctly, Baltar like sold them out too.
Oh yeah,
like he definitely like he's like doing what he can to like, you know, help the Cylons, you know. So whereas what they did and just the stories that they wrote with the new BSG and season 1. So
now you didn't meet them, did you, Jack? I think it was Comic-Con 9 or 10, where like pretty much the entire cast of BSG was at Comic-Con.
I met Richard Hatch.
Yeah, I remember that.
I was standing next to Richard Hatch talking to him, And Jay and I at the time were doing a BSG body. He goes, "Did you ask?" I go, "No, I just thought it was so cool. I was talking to Richard Hatch."
You're like,
Anyway.
there's a Hatch in Lost.
Yeah.
Is your show kind of like that?
Yeah. I remember you on Streets of San Francisco. Does that matter? Yeah. My sister had a huge crush on you. But
we should probably take a commercial break.
Let's hatch that out.
Okay. So I went to see a film on Wednesday. I kind of resisted seeing it, and then I was like, okay, I'll go watch it. I went and watched Napoleon.
Oh, yeah. I've heard mixed things about that.
It's mixed. Yeah, it's a good mix. Like I don't hate the film. I gave it a solid B. You know, it's very Ridley Scott in the visuals for sure. There's definitely some shots that are basically paintings. He's no Stanley Kubrick with Barry Lyndon, but it is visually very beautiful. But it's one of those things where I agree with some people that it probably should have been like a 4 or 5 episode Netflix series or something instead of a movie, because it's too much ground to cover. And that's really my only negative about it is
do you think because he's Ridley Scott, he would never do this as a show? It's like, it's got to be a movie. It's got to be a movie theater experience.
Yeah, I would bet that, because I think it would have greatly benefited from a series instead of a movie. Because
it's a long movie, right?
It's 2.5 hours, and it should have either focused on just his military, like.
But I thought he wanted it to be like 4 hours long or something like that. Like,
if it would have been 4 hours, it would have been probably good. I mean, better. Yeah. More what I would have wanted. Because I would have liked to seen more of the tactician Napoleon, or do you want to make one just about him and Josephine, or do you want to make it, like, and it really, to me, I told my sister, like, to me, it felt like the Cliff Notes of Napoleon's life. So if you know nothing about him and you know nothing about the time period, all you're seeing is all just the high points. So it's like, here's me going from captain to general. Here's me becoming part of the new Republic politics. Here's me becoming Caesar, or the emperor. Here's me, you go, and it's like all you're getting is just the big points, and then the movie's over. And it's like, oh yeah, it's good, but like there's a lot you could do with this. And
when does he meet Bill and Ted? Do they cover that?
And that's my name. That's why it got to be, is that it did not show him going to.
Didn't he also meet Bewitched too? Wasn't he on Bewitched?
I don't know, but he might as well have been in Star Trek too. The way they just were like, "Hey, here's Satan. Let's bring him in. Here's Lincoln. Here's Hitler. Okay, let's do another Nazi story. Yeah. What else you got?"
Yeah.
So, no, I remember Justice League and the Snyder cut, and like how he had this like 4 hour long Snyder. But one of the things that I enjoyed about it is he kind of broke it down into part 1, part 2, part 3. And I was like, oh, okay. So, I'm watching this over the course of, now I still fell asleep to it. And it's a superhero movie, so take of it what you will. I actually like the shorter version. I don't like the 4 hour. But when it becomes like an episodic thing, it's like Ken Burns, great filmmaker. He's not saying, hey, why don't you come into the movie theater? Give me a couple days. Just hang out in the movie theater and watch 24 hours of just Vietnam. Okay.
But I mean, to me, it would have been, I think a Ken Burns style Napoleon would be great. Like, if you just go like, hey, part 1 is him as a young military tactician. Part
imagining
2
is, the Civil War fiddle song that they always play, like, it's like the same fiddle, but it's like French. Like,
I think that, like you're saying about Ken Burns, the Vietnam thing, you can't watch that, one episode after episode.
No,
but it sticks with you though. But it still sticks with you, and you can kind of like.
No, I know. I'm saying it's perfect the way it is, because you can watch an episode, you can think about what the government did, and and you know how fucked up it was, and you just go.
Does Napoleon, like when he dies, does like an alien shoot out of his chest right at the end?
I'm sorry, what? I was reading Matt's comment here. What?
Okay,
Well, that's why he's always got his hand there.
Yeah.
Like, that was actually the one thing they did not show. They never showed him one time do this. And I was like,
oh, really?
Everybody was waiting for it.
In every picture he's painting, he's like this.
Yeah. I was Napoleon in third grade.
Really?
Yeah, and I won the costume.
I'm surprised they didn't have you for the sequel.
So it's too tall. They were like, please, no one. We don't want to be height.
But wasn't he like 5'8", 5'9", which is the
please nobody
average.
over
yeah, like it's
6
kind
foot.
of I think
I'm like 6'4". I'd be like dunking on him. You know, it's like
screw you, Napoleon.
Go through my crotch.
Yeah. One thing I did kind of like about it,
leapfrogging. That's what I'm thinking.
I got it.
Okay, thank you.
One thing I did like about it was how they kind of pointed out he kind of had like a inferiority or a mama's boy kind of complex in that he was from Corsica, and which is not mainland France, and so he kind of came in believing that everyone thought low of him because like all these are the island hillbilly kind of people.
Oh,
and then his whole life seemed to be about trying to prove that he could be as sophisticated as all these aristocrats, and so like even when he becomes emperor, he issues these letters to England and Austria and all these people saying like, hey, I want to have a friendship with all these great countries, and nobody replies to him, and then he
pissed him off.
Well, yeah, it was one of those things where like his emissary, was like, look, to them you're nothing more than a brute, like you're not royalty, you're not this. And so he kind of issues these like ultimatums of like, we're going to have peace, like basically I'm going to beat the shit out of you until you go, yes, now we have peace, and it's, and so, I mean, there's definitely some elements to it, like where you're kind of like, oh, I can see now, like, and even at the end, of his career, it was one of those things where like he became emperor again, and then what did they do? All the royalty countries align against him. It's just like, like we can't have this upstart, so I mean, like I said, it wasn't a bad film. It's just like it could have been. I
wanted to see it, but I just
the best film to me is still Godzilla -1, probably of 2023. I mean, it's not going to win any awards, but as in just for entertainment and being a solid, good film, it's up there.
Well, until the sequel Godzilla +1 comes out,
yeah.
I'm not going to waste my time.
So I got to know that. So Godzilla is allowed to bring a date.
I got to know that I'm in for a franchise here. Okay. See, I just dedicated a year to Star Trek. I'm looking for another big.
There you go.
Yeah,
you watch every Godzilla movie ever made.
Yeah,
that would be. I think I can only take them if I'm watching MST3K with them. So that's mine.
I mean, yeah. I always felt bad for Matthew Broderick because that Godzilla movie is just so bad.
Yeah. I felt bad for the Wallflowers trying to cover Heroes by Bowie. I mean, it's like, how can you improve this song?
Right.
It's like,
dude, does it? Yeah, exactly.
I never saw the Matthew Broderick one. I just said,
it's like,
it's not worth it.
I was sick the day it came out. So.
Why am I forgetting his name? Who's the guitarist on Heroes? He's King Crimson guitarist. Anyway, but he's just a incredible guitarist. He never gets his due. But like that whole just that whole sequence he's playing in Heroes is just unbelievable.
Yeah. Let's see. Robert Fripp.
Robert Fripp. Yeah.
So, thank you, Google.
Google is the answer to everything. I got my 3 youngest grandsons, and when they're over at my house, I have them almost every day. We rock out. I play Van Halen. I play like Huey Lewis and News, Journey, Boston, Led Zeppelin,
AC/DC.
Rush. I haven't got them into AC/DC yet. But it's funny. The 16-month-old, he'll sit in his high chair, he's going. He's
just nonstop.
rocks, and then the little one's in the walker. He's like, he's dancing. Then we're like jamming to the song. Oh, Cindy comes in the other day as we're rocking out, and she goes, just shakes her head and goes, "Alexa, play Christmas music." And then Christmas, one of those,
Right.
and they all went like this. Went. I go, we're headbangers here. What are you doing? This is crap. We're not listening to this. She goes, they shouldn't be listening to that. It's Christmas music.
She's fighting the flow. You had them in their flow state. They were fine.
She
rocked the boat.
Ashton, the one that's in the high chair, he's like going, seriously, I'm thinking he doesn't speak yet.
Yeah, but he's like, what the fuck?
He's, what the fuck, old lady? What are you doing? What the fuck? You don't turn on Van Halen.
Dreaming of Dramamine.
Seriously, the mood just stopped because they're like going, and then Hayden, who's 4, goes up and goes, "Alexa, play something."
Nice.
She goes, "I thought they'd like Christmas music." I go, "Nobody likes Christmas music. Nobody likes Christmas music
except the Grinch song. I like the Grinch song."
Well, and I think she's just trying to indoctrinate them. Like they have no concept of the fact that this Christmas music exists. Until someone says, "Hey, you got to listen to this Christmas song." Like they were just living their life.
Look, I have a routine here. I go, these kids like to rock, and I go, they're not going to rock out to Bing Crosby and Perry Como, and Andy Williams, classics that I had to grow up,
Yeah, I can only take so many of them. So
yeah, it was terrible.
Some of it's okay. But after a while, I need other music. I can't have it just 24/7 nonstop. And I feel bad for the retail workers out there. If you're listening to this and you work retail, and God knows Chris does, listening to Christmas music like in a store 24/7, like I feel for you.
I think you learn to tune it out.
It's like that scene. It's like that scene in a 40-Year-Old Virgin where they're just playing Michael McDonald nonstop, and
I think my I've known of this song for a long time, but it's just we've played it a lot in our house this year, but it's Fairy Tale of New York by the Pogues. So it's good. It's good. Especially when it kicks in and they're like yelling at each other, and my kids love it because it's like the one Christmas song where they're calling each other slut. And...
Nice. That's a good Christmas.
Yeah, no, it is. You should put that on.
Maybe I will. Yeah. You mentioned the Grinch, and I was watching my daughter put the Grinch on for the kids the other day at her house. And I go, man, this cartoon, I haven't watched it in a while. It could use a boost. I mean, it's kind of old looking.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's just like, I'm like the Yoo-Hoos or whatever they're called. The
Yoo-Hoos.
The Yoo-Hoos.
I'm like going
Cindy Lou Who.
Cindy Lou Who, whatever.
So it's the
I'm like
down
going
in Whoville.
It's just not doing it for me. It's outdated. I mean, you could have the same story.
That's the way
I need something fresh, something peppy.
Well, let's throw
Jim Carrey in a costume or something. I don't know. Give me something.
Don't need that. But you have the cartoon. Just make it. Just modernize it. Make the drawings.
Well, didn't they do that already?
Maybe they did, and she just got. I go. Would you get the old crappy version? What is this? She goes, "What do you mean?" I go, "It just doesn't. It looks faded. The colors aren't bright." I go. I get now, and I forgot how much noise those damn kids made.
It's over 50 years old.
Yeah, I know, but it's just. I get the Grinch now. I think we talked about it last week.
Yeah, we did.
They're making so much fucking noise. It's like you're giving me a fucking headache.
He didn't hate Christmas. He hated people.
Yeah, he hated them,
and that's why I like the Grinch.
Yeah, they have a new. This was out. Well, I say new, but when did this one come out? Okay, I got 6.44 stars here, but 2018, Benedict Cumberbatch and this one. Did you guys ever see?
No, I never
No,
saw
I
it.
want the same voices. I just want them to redo the the artwork.
Well, I think they did.
You as
They
an
did.
artist should
They-
appreciate that.
I do. I kind of do, but I don't know. It's like how do you?
I think everything's at HD now, so you're
Yeah.
watching. Go, okay, this is not HD. This is crap.
How much can you squeeze out of someone's memory? That's what it boils down to. Because I mean, it's like Elf. Like I like the movie Elf, but it's just like, well, how many times can you fucking do Elf? So it's like they gotta have the Elf cartoon.
Yeah. Again,
for
I'm
kids.
not saying
gotta,
doing a
like,
whole.
They gotta have Elf the musical.
You have the same
They gotta have-
singer, the same guy that's doing the
James Caan. Apparently, he's dying to play the sequel.
Didn't he die?
Well, too late now.
Like, yeah.
Maybe his son can play it.
Well, I mean, there'll never be a Elf 2 because Will Ferrell and Jon Favreau hate each other.
Oh, they hate each other?
Oh, do they?
Yeah,
Do they?
that's why. That's why that they've said that there'll never be an Elf 2 is because
Wow.
they had such a bad experience between the two of them on set that
Interesting.
they'll never do it again.
Interesting.
Really?
Huh.
I did not know that.
Well, I guess he can kiss his Star Wars cameo goodbye.
There you go.
Mr.
Yeah.
Will Ferrell. You're not going to appear in any Star Wars of Jon Favreau's making.
I never heard of Will Ferrell being hard to work with before.
I don't know. I think
he's a bit of an eccentric.
Yeah.
Because
Because I mean, I've seen so many people like seeing him on the street, and filming it, and he's just a dick. Like he's being funny, but he's being like over the top mean to them, and it's like, but they're laughing because it's Will Ferrell. But I was like, dude, he's being mean right
Being
now.
a dick to you. Huh?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well, I mean, it'd be like seeing Jack on the street,
Oh, true.
And
No, I'd be a dick to you.
he
Everybody
would be like, "Get the fuck away from me! What are you doing here?"
That's me in a nutshell. In a nutshell. Yeah, my youngest grandson, I think he's teething or I don't know what's wrong with him. Maybe an earache, but today he was good. But like since last Thursday, a week ago Thursday,
It was good.
screeching.
Today.
I just couldn't get him to calm down. I'm like going, okay, all right. What am I gonna do? I go, what are we doing here? And then yesterday I had the 16-month-old and him were both crying in the car after I dropped Hayden off at school. I'm like I was going to go to McDonald's and I was in the drive and they're screaming. I go, how am I going to be able to fucking order? So then I get on, I go, oh, maybe he doesn't have his pacifier. So I get my hand on the steering wheel and I'm like this. I go, I'm honking the horn. Guy in the truck looks back at me. Oh, sorry. No. Screaming kid. I just, no, hey, stay in your truck. Don't shoot me. It just was an accident.
What'd you honk at me for?
At first I'm like, who the fuck is honking? Oh, it's me.
It's me. Oh,
Jesus Christ. Then I had a guy
yeah.
drop Cindy off at work. And
Okay, you had a guy.
And these people in
Several,
the shopping mall, they don't stop.
Oh, shopping mall people.
Am I freezing?
Shopping mall people are the fucking worst.
So anyway,
and by the way, every time I've been into a place like Walmart, let's say, I don't typically shop at Walmart, but recently I get these like little organizers for Legos. I've been organizing some Legos.
What do you mean by organizing?
Like I have like I've gotten like some bead trays, so I can
okay,
some of smaller pieces.
you can still hear me, right?
Yeah, but I've taken over your story now.
That's fine.
And basically, I Nick will appreciate this. I go into this Walmart, and I'm like, oh shit, they have this 1,800 piece classic set, so it's just a bunch of random pieces. And I've been working on this sailboat of mine, so I'm looking for specific pieces. I'm like, oh fuck, it has like 4 of these things, and it's got some other shit that I need, and it was on sale for like $35. 1,800 pieces, $35. That's like a pretty good, price per piece.
That's actually very good.
Yeah.
Outstanding.
Yeah, and it had the pieces that I was looking for the boat, So I've been working it, and now I've kind of gone back into
working
it.
it, huh?
I'm working it. So anyway, this Walmart parking lot though is like a death trap, and I'm like, every Walmart I've ever been into, every like Target, I'm like, do they literally sit down and they're like, how do we fuck with people? How do we make it so that when they're getting their groceries and they're just trying to make their way from point A to point B, that we could just crank it up just a little bit, like maybe T-bone somebody, maybe make it so that there's no stop signs here, and the rules of the stop signs change with every intersection, so that each intersection you don't know if you're stopping or going.
Right.
That's how we're gonna get you. And then like the insurance companies are like, yeah, fuck yeah, let's do this. You know, they're giving them discounts on the land, they're giving them discounts on the building, because they're like, you're good on your insurance. We're gonna make bank on the parking lot and all of the fucked up shit that happens in the parking lot.
Well, that's what happened. That's what happened to me, and it's happened to me. These cars, they don't stop, and I have the right of way, and so I see this car coming flying down the thing. I go, "Oh, he's not going to stop," so I stop.
Yeah.
If I don't stop, he slams right into me,
and
he's got some beat up piece of shit car, and I just went, and I promised Cindy with the grandkid, I'm gonna start calming down. I'm not gonna scream at people anymore. I go, dude. He starts. He goes, fuck you, asshole, fuck you. I go, you're yelling at me, and that was the day the kids were screaming, and he didn't look like he was that big, and I said,
yeah.
I go, please get out of the car so I can just beat the living shit out of you, because I'm so angry. I want to hit somebody right now, because I've been listening to kids scream for a half hour. But I was just like going, okay, all right, bye, have a good day. But if I didn't stop,
what's Pop doing? And you just see Jack like pummeling this guy's face down.
I would get the jersey.
I'd
get the jersey over the head and beat the shit out of him right where he stands.
Yeah,
I just tell people that all the time. I will grab your jersey, put it over your head, and beat the shit out of you right where you stand. They look at me like he might be able to do it. He's kind of nuts. But no,
I playing hockey all those years, I'm just guessing. You got a pretty good low center of gravity. Like no one's going to take you down. Like you're going to take someone else down. I think you're going to be. I don't know.
I had pretty good balance. There was one time with this guy. He's 6'3", like
okay,
250, 260. He checks me from behind.
That's about my size too.
Yeah, he checks me from behind, slams me into the boards.
Mm-hmm.
I go, what the fuck? And he goes, I can't help it. You can't skate. I go, oh, you fucking dick. You hit me from behind. And now you're calling me out. And you got a 2-minute penalty. I go, big deal. 2-minute penalty for being an asshole. So I'm going, so then I start thinking, I go, man, I should probably shut my mouth. This guy could just pound me. But I was because hitting someone from behind is like one of the worst things you can do. I mean, I can't see you, and you slam me from behind. Now, there's a technique I've learned. If you're out there playing hockey, what you can do is if people are constantly hitting you from behind, and I've done this a couple times, it's been effective, is what you do is, and you have to look at the glass because you can see the person coming from behind you. You stick your stick into the boards where the ice and the kick plate is around, like the yellow around the boards.
Okay.
And then you slide your hand down and expose about 12 inches of the stick, the butt end of the stick. And when they come to hit you, what's going to happen? They're going to get speared in the stomach.
Well, so you're trying to impale people.
Yes. And they're going to drop to the ground in
Jack,
pain. And you're just like, what happened?
There's another technique when they're on the ground in pain that you take your blade. And I'm not saying that this is legal, but you slice them.
That's not legal, and you probably get called for it. But this thing,
and you don't want to kill someone because that's manslaughter.
Yeah, you do it so fast that they don't. You don't get a penalty because the ref's like going, well, I don't know what he did. I mean, what happened?
What he did.
I go, I don't know. He must have hit my stick.
Just bleeding out all over the place.
Yeah, sorry.
I saw a video a few weeks back from the 60s where I did not know that because I didn't know much about hockey, but it was where like back then there was only one penalty box, and so it shows like two guys fighting on the ice, and then they both get sent to the penalty box, and they just keep fighting each other in the penalty box, and so like after that, like they made the rule like each team has to have their own penalty box.
Well, if you look at the old photos, the goalies didn't even wear. Not only did they not wear helmets, they didn't wear face masks, and their faces are all scarred and they're all cut. And the lighting wasn't that great back then. So you're trying to see this black puck.
Yeah, no,
It's like because I know I refed at a few rinks where they would have this background, like a dark blue background, and the puck would come flying around. And you're like going, where you lose it. And it come flying right by your head, or it would hit you. And people would get the fuck out of the way. I go, I never saw it. I never saw the puck. I go, I can't see it.
I'm imagining this place being lit by one halogen light that's just like.
Yeah, it's tough. It's rough. Well, you see the Mighty Duck movies; they only have it lit in certain areas to give a dramatic effect. I mean, that's not good for hockey because you can't. The puck is black, so if you don't have lights, you can't see the puck.
Hear me out. Glow in the dark puck with that like kind of day glow white light kind of effect.
Well, it can't have white because the ice is white.
Okay, but what about white light where like the whole ice is glowing then, and then the puck is glowing as well? Everything's glowing. Okay, it's like
it have to be a different color than white.
It's like how like in bowling they're like, "Ooh, we're gonna have cosmic bowling."
Yeah.
Cosmic ice
hockey.
Skating.
The difference is the bowling ball's not coming towards you.
Yeah, true.
Make it speed skating.
That's the issue you have. You can't see the puck. You're going to die.
Or the ice.
Yeah.
I was going to go back to Matt's parking lot kind of rant.
Oh yeah. No, I mean it's just let's change the rules every intersection.
Yeah, well, I mean, like, so the nearest Walmart to me, I understand probably when they designed the parking lot, it was probably a good idea because each row, the traffic has to go one way or the other. It's
right.
Yeah, but the thing is that they put a raised sidewalk to where, like, when you're pulling in, the sidewalk is here,
and then
the other side, in Colorado, and the other one's here. So it's so you don't have to take the shopping cart down the driving path. You can go up on the sidewalk and then just put all your stuff in your car from there. And I was like, that's a good idea. But the thing is, they go all the way to the end of this huge lot. So you have to drive all the way down the lot, then come back all the way back up.
You can't cut through.
Because it's a raised sidewalk. You're just like, motherfucker.
And what's hard about that is if you do drive it down there, unless you've backed in, which then again you're going against the grain of the flow,
right?
To back in those,
because you stop everything when you back in.
So your trunk is facing the place where your cart is not now. So then that's and then if you take it off the sidewalk with heavy groceries, that's a pain in the ass.
Yeah, because.
Right, and then it's like, oh, I'm sorry I dented your car. Didn't mean to fuck up your Beamer.
Yeah.
And then you like dragged it into the side of it, load up your groceries. Then you're like, fuck, I don't want to like do anything with the cart. So you just dump it on the Beamer, and then you get the fuck out of there. But no, seriously though,
Jack comes out and beats the shit out of you.
Yeah, Walmart.
I don't fight too much anymore because. I'm old.
Look, I don't want to be. We try not to get political. I'm not trying to be political, but it doesn't matter if it's a Walmart or a Target. Okay, they're equally shitty ass designs in their parking lot systems, and unless you're shopping at Dollar General, like fuck it, like everyone's fucked. Okay, like no one has the perfect parking spot, whether you're red or blue. Walmart or Target, it doesn't matter. We're all fucked by the parking lot.
Parking garages that were built in the 60s and 70s, more like 70s and 80s, because they started going to smaller cars.
They were smoking garages back then too.
Well, that too, but now you have these huge tanks and these huge trucks.
Oh yeah, they weren't designed
to take up
for
like 2 or 3 parking spaces because that's what they do, and you're like going, come on.
And the big truck attitude, there's like, get the fuck out of my way. And it's like, okay, your vehicle, which you're using to basically take your child to school and back home, is designed to be a farm vehicle with dualies that are meant to be in the mud, okay? And your fucking dually ass thing is not meant for downtown driving. So then you're going to be pissed off at me for driving a Prius. But one of us was actually designed for this fucking road, and it's not. It's not you.
But then the opposite of that argument is things like because I rarely fit into a parking garage anyway, but like, because I have a camper.
Oh yeah, your camper.
But when you're
Wait,
going
how old are you?
It's just a top thing.
No, it's not like a camper.
I'm just fucking.
Yeah,
I'm just
right.
fucking. With you.
But you will you're going in, and then you see like two longer vehicles, and then you see like, oh, I think there's a spot just past them, and you get there, and then what is it? It's a fucking Kia, and you're like, God damn it! Like it's just this little car, you know?
Yeah, well, my car's not as small as a Kia, but whatever. That's a.
But I mean, you get your hopes up, thinking, oh yes,
no, for sure.
And then
well, I know at my grandson's school, I drop him off. The parking, it's a church, and these parking spaces are just they squeezed in. It's like, okay, you have enough room to get in there.
Yeah.
But there's so many Suburbans and these huge trucks, and they all have to back in.
Yeah,
I said this before, and it's
like
the ones that don't know how to back obsession.
In. Okay, backing in. Let's just get this bitch fest out. Backing in, and then the fucking farmer turn when you don't even need to fucking farmer turn. There are times in which you need to farmer turn. You turn left a little bit as you're turning right? You like kind of go out and then you make your right turn. Yeah. Okay, but sometimes your vehicle is actually just designed to make a fucking right-hand turn, and you don't have to turn left in order to turn right, okay? You don't have a fucking trailer. You just have a fucking vehicle. Just turn the turn.
Like I said, my worst thing was
you found this. Oh, by the way, Costco, I will say, they do give you extra space on either side. So if you're one of those pavement princesses that have like 18 wheels and you need to park there, fine, you're good, okay? But also if you're just a regular ass, SUV or what have you, I have a Highlander, fine, perfect. It's like, and then there's enough room to get in and get out without dinging other cars.
Well, I said my biggest problem was learning that they all back in, because I would go, okay, they're turning in here. I'm gonna take. I go, oh wait, you're taking that space because you're turning. You're giving yourself room, and I gotta wait for you. And it's like
utility parking is kind of smart in a way. That's what they call it. Like
if they can do it.
If you can do it, if you know how to do it, because it's also for safety, and that if it's an emergency, you just get in and go. You don't have to.
What's the emergency that you gotta get out of that parking lot?
Just saying.
I'm telling you that the emergency is not there. Now a good pull through, if you can find a good pull through every time,
cool.
But geez, if you're gonna take 5 minutes to back up,
I hate that.
It's just,
again, if you can do it, you back up and you go in with no problem.
One of the most juiciest things I could enjoy right before school ended is so a lot of times I'll go out to my car for part of my lunch. Like I'll eat inside in the faculty lunchroom or what have you, but at some point I just need my me time, right? So I go out to my car, surf my phone, maybe take a nap for 15 minutes. So I go out to my car, and this is if anybody's been on a college campus, this is how it goes. Like people are stalking you for your parking spot. They're like, oh, that person right there, and I'm just
might be leaving.
They might be leaving, and I'm like,
and then they just sit there,
and I just sit there
while you're just
And I actually turned on my car too because it was cold. And I'm just circling around, and I'm just like, fucking live it up because I'm not moving.
When I was younger,
and they're going like, look at this fucking asshole. He's just
a couple times they like drove by and they were like looking in at me, and finally like I turned off my vehicle and climbed into the back seat, and I was like, suck it.
I know this. I have bad karma when I was younger, like 18, 19, 20, and you see busy shopping mall. I would act like I was going to the car, and people would stop and I'd go, keep going through. I'd get out my keys, that was when you had to unlock your thing, and I'd be like this, going, look, and then now if they asked me if I was going, I wouldn't, say no.
The best thing for that is if you were able to like just walk up to a bicycle at some point, like you walk around forever, and then you just walk up to a bicycle and leave on a bike.
Well, I know the beaches in San Diego, there's not a lot of parking. And so when you find someone leaving,
but
then they got to take off their stuff and they got to, and you're, I guess, going, and it takes them like 20, 25, and you're like going,
We're gonna
find
eat
another,
lunch.
there is no other parking space. There is no other parking space. I have to wait for these fuckers to get their clothes changed. You know, they couldn't do it a little faster for me. I always thought that they should, because in like La Jolla, that you park on the street, you park like this. You know, you park one car. You know, I said, why don't they have like angle parking where you just, you could probably get 3 or 4 more cars in these parking spaces than trying to do this, and then you always have the one person that doesn't go forward enough or back, and you're like going,
and then they fucked it up for multiple people.
I go, if you literally, there's like 6 feet, but I need 7 feet. You stupid fuck. So I love going to the beach. It's fun. It's good times.
People just piss you off. They piss everybody off. You know,
they do. It again, like the whole point of that guy flipping me off, he was 100% wrong.
Oh,
a young guy. I go, does he say, "Hey, my bad"? Because I'll do that. Hey, my bad.
Right.
You know, but not anymore, because people have to sit there and, you know, and it's like there's a video on TikTok where these people take cuts in Disneyland, these young kids, and they're flipping the guy off behind him. Fuck you. You got to film us. Fuck you. So we took cuts. Fuck you. I'm like going, okay, first you're at Disneyland, which is surrounded by kids, and you were wrong. You took cuts. You got caught. So instead of saying, hey, you got us, you know, hey, sorry. Yeah, we were wrong. You're going to cuss this guy out. And then they started filming him. We're going to put you on the internet, Karen. And I was like going, what's wrong with this society? It's just like, we can't admit. It's like nobody can admit they made a mistake anymore.
Right.
It's like, okay, we got to turn it on you because, you know, God damn it. Yeah. Sherry says Rantcast.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. The like the last few times
Merry Christmas.
Last times I've gotten pissed in public, which I didn't, you know, lash out at anybody or anything, is it's always when I'm going to like a tourist area. And it's, you know, Colorado's full of waterfalls and lakes and streams. And
don't go chasing them.
Yeah, right. But like in Boulder, there's Boulder Falls, and it's just right off the main interstate, and it is a highly trafficked area. And then near Aspen, there's a place called Crystal Mill, which is a hike to get to. But both of these places, though, are very photo-esque, picturesque. Yeah. And both of them happen to have a boulder right in the middle of the water where everyone takes the photo, you know, and some people climb up on the boulder, get their photo taken, and they move on. And the last 2 times I've been at both of these places, it's been a family of like 8 to 10 people that choose to go to that boulder and then set up a picnic, and we'll eat on this boulder,
on the boulder.
And you're kind of like, and they're just oblivious to like the other 25 people that are waiting to get their photo so they can move the fuck on, you know. And it's like, and you want to pick up a rock and just throw it at them.
But the people don't. But see, people like that, they just don't care. No one cares anymore. And I don't know if it's because of video games or because cell phones, and we're not communicating with people anymore. I don't know or it's just the way people are being raised now. That, you know, no one can ever be wrong.
It wasn't like this.
It wasn't, because, you know, someone would kick your ass, or they tell you to get up, and you're like, oh, or you know.
It sounds like someone's got a case of the grumpies.
It was you started it, Matt.
Okay, look, we started talking about parking lots, and let's just say
it was worse than Star Trek: The Motion Picture.
They kind of are.
Anyway, I think this is a good note to end on it.
It's such a happy note to end it on.
Yeah.
Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas. I hope you don't have to go park somewhere, because God help you if you have to park anywhere.
Well, now you just order stuff online. Another thing too.
Yeah.
Okay.
My wife with the ordering. It's just like all the time. I'm like, there's another package there. Don't text me that there's a package at the door. I'll get the fucking package. Okay.
But we're having a problem because, again, they built that new complex over by us, you know, and the street that we're on now goes all the way to the end now. We'll get packages that aren't ours. It's like they say, fuck it, we can't find it, we'll leave them here.
Right.
Now, the last one, it was just around I had to walk down the street until I don't even know where the street is at. So it's the next street over. So, because I don't pay attention to what the name of the streets are. And so I walked out and I drop it on their door and stuff like that. I could easily have kept it.
Yeah,
right. I'm not gonna do that. But it's like the 4th time, the address is not even fucking close. It's not even our street.
I had a something that arrived. And I got the email from Amazon like, "Hey, your package arrived." And so I looked at the email and I looked at the photo and I was like, "That's not my fucking house." And so I immediately like go outside just to double check, and I'm like, "Nope, it's not here." And so I like click like, I'm going to report like, "Hey, like, are you happy with your delivery?" I'm like, "No, I'm not." Like it was not delivered to me. And it's just like the solution was like, "Hey, look around. Maybe maybe it's near you." It's like, fuck you. It's not here. And so I looked at that picture and I was like, "Oh, that's my neighbor's house." So I just went over there and got it. But still, it's just like, come on. Like the suggestion shouldn't be like, "Hey, go knock around at your neighbor's house." But
Yeah,
You can go get shot. Yeah.
Yeah.
exactly.
It's now a game.
Yeah.
It's called You Find It.
You find it and put that target on your back.
Put
we
that
have
target-
we have neighbors a couple doors down, and they're an older couple. I can say that because I'm old, but they're retired. They're my favorite neighbors. I don't get to see the husband that often, Mr. Graham, anymore. I call him Mr. Graham. His name's Les, but I call him Mr. Graham. But I don't see his body's given out on him, stuff like that. We used to talk football, and he had this big booming voice, and if I went outside in the early morning, "Hey, Jack, how's it going?" I go, "Oh my God, you gave me a fucking heart
I
attack."
think I actually remember you talking about him.
Yeah.
Sports talk.
Well, I think because she never remembers anything. She goes, she'll talk to you, and then once you start talking to her. And so anyway, somebody sends them mail all the time, but with our address. And I've tried telling her. I said, "Yeah, they keep putting our address on there." She goes, "Oh, okay, all right, okay." But we just got so what I do is the grandkids, we take the mail down there and we hand it to her, and she goes, "Oh, thank you very much. I don't know why they keep sending it to you." I go, "Well, it's why you keep getting." I go, "It's my address. It's my address on there." And she goes, "Oh," but she doesn't remember,
Right.
So I just go,
guess
"Whatever."
that's how it'll be.
Yeah. And she goes, "I don't know why they keep
As
doing
soon
that."
as she closes that door, she forgets exactly.
Yeah, she forgets. You know what?
She's like, "Oh, MacGyver's on again."
They were such good. They're such good neighbors, and I just go,
No, I
always worry because
good neighbors.
every now and then you'll see an ambulance out in front. I go,
Oh no.
I worry about my neighbors too.
I saw a video yesterday that if this would have happened to me, I probably would have gone to jail for assault. And so you see, like, the Ring, the doorbell camera thing.
Yeah.
You see, like, Amazon show up like at 9:30 in the morning and leave a package, and then UPS shows up, leaves a package. It's like over the course of like the day, and then it comes like around 3:30, and all of a sudden you see this neighbor come out of his house, walks right up, and it's one of those cameras like right in the ring, and just a male Karen, a Chad, and he goes, according to,
I saw this.
He said, yeah, like according to our homeowners, no, not homeowners association,
homeowners association.
Yeah, you can't have your HOA. You're not allowed to have this many packages on your porch. And he goes, you're not allowed to have the packages out here for longer than 6 hours. And
what the fuck?
The thing is, then he goes on of like, I don't know where you have all this money to be buying all this stuff. Like, you see him going like a personal rant of like envy, And
well, the funny thing is, he says he lives down the street, and it's ruining my view.
It's ruining my He's just an asshole. Yeah. And then he starts counting the packages, and he goes, because they've been out here for over 6 hours, I can fine you $25 per package. He starts counting them up. He's like, yeah, so you owe me all this money, so you can just give me
like $150, I think it was, or something like that.
And I would have been like, as soon as like I assumed the guy was probably at work. It's like, dude, it's 9 to 3 o'clock. I'm at fucking work.
Right.
And I would have seen that. I would probably walked over and just like cracked him right in the fucking head. But
I said, this can't be real.
Yeah.
But then how people are, and I was like,
people get weird about shit.
I said,
I get weird about my neighbor lady. She parks in we have these parking spots in front of our house, and I get so pissed at her when she takes one of our spots, because it's like, now we're a family of 3 vehicles.
Yeah.
Before I didn't really care that much. But now I'm a little bit more like, And it's my daughter too, so I'm a little bit more protective of like I want her to have the best spot.
Mm.
But it's like she doesn't need the top spot. Like her doorway actually should be in the second spot on our block. Anyway, sorry, it's a stupid little thing, but that's exactly how humans are. We get fixated on this one little thing. I will say, in a piece of like positive though, Jack, you're talking about neighbors and being neighborly, and I started drinking about 10 minutes ago. But my neighbor Bob and I, we always have this thing about like taking up our trash cans, you know, and so it's like, you know, today I got both of his trash cans. Next week he'll probably get one of mine, you know, like, but it's just like a little kind of nice neighborly thing that we just do, you know, and it's not like me jockeying for position and fighting my other neighbor for like the best parking spot in front of my own house. By the way, what pisses me off is she has a garage. She has a car garage that she doesn't even fucking use. She has a place that she could park her car in front of the car garage, but no, she's got to park it on the street. And one more thing, just for me to bitch after being a nice neighbor and taking up my neighbor's trash cans. Her car's actually been hit by drunk drivers on the road and totaled, like completely totaled the car. And she still parks it on the street. And I'm just like, okay. I try to get past it, you know, like, this might be the liquor talking, but, you know, I just, in the spirit of the year, you know, I just try to say, hey, you know, like, maybe she's going through stuff too, you know, and it's not up for me to be mad at her, you know.
Our neighbors get a lot of visitors.
Cheers.
Like all night long. I make jokes. I said, okay, I go, well, someone needed some pot.
Sure.
I mean, they're always smoking pot and stuff like that. I don't care. I mean, you know, I've never been invited over there for the pot smoking, but that's okay. But, you know, sometimes they get these big trucks over there and they're, like you said, parked in front of your house. They park in front of our mailbox.
Oh,
and I know they're pissing off the mail. I'll tell the mailman next time I see him, I say, the mail carrier, I say, hey, just to let you know, we never park in front. He goes, yeah. I go, yeah, that's not us. That's
right.
them. And then we get a lot of, if people are having parties or something, they park behind our driveway. And it's, if we have to get out, it's a pain because our streets are narrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And we got cars racing up and down. It's hard to get. I go, why? I've actually gone out there. Said, hey, give me a favor. They go, not park behind my driveway. They go, huh? I go, my driveway. You're parked right behind.
Dude.
I can't get out. And they go, oh, okay, sorry. I go, yeah, no big deal. Just, you know, if I have to get out, I
no
can't
big
get
deal.
out.
Just, you know, give me a couple buds of that Panama Gold.
Yeah. Or they park our streets, like I said, narrow. They park on, one will park on this side of the street, that side, and you can't get through. I
hate that. We have a thing where it's like there's certain roads where it's like you can only park on one side or the other. That's why
we have it's called common sense, but you know,
that's why like on our road you can only park on one side, which is actually our side of the road.
Right.
And the neighbor that's across the road that parks in front of my house, that's why I'm like, why don't you just...
Oh, she's on the other side of the street.
Exactly.
Oh.
She's on the other side of the street, and she has a garage in the back of her house and a place to park her vehicle, but we still fight over this one spot, and I'm just like...
Well, our street's really, again, narrow, so sometimes the people next door, or I'm sorry, our neighbors, I don't want to say next door, they park on our grass. I was on the grass, and I go, I would not be okay with that. Well, you know, we get along with them so well. I mean, it's just like they used to skate at the, you know, when we were I mean, I've known their kid since he was 6, so it's like I don't, you know, I like to be one of those neighbors that doesn't want to cause. It has to be something really bad for me to get really intense about it. But all right,
I got a neighbor that is kind of, it's very, very passive aggressive, but he, you know, we share a fence, you know, and the thing is that he has been leaning these boards, like just like get rid of the fucking boards and stop leaning them on the fence. Leaning them on the fence, like kind of right in our viewpoint. Like, so it's kind of like the package guy, you know. It's like I identify
with the HOA guy.
Well, because it's like there's this one huge board with fucking nails just like pointed right at our side, like just like leaning over. And I'm like, I don't need that. So I would push it over, or I would push it in a way that like I would not see it, because I just would be like, fuck this shit. No, I don't want your nail fucking boards on my side. And I put up this holiday garland that's lit, and I brought it all the way down, and I lit. It's fucking lit, dude. It's so fire. And it like goes up, and I purposely put the garland end to end where he had these fucking boards, just so that, and you know what happened?
What?
He moved them to the other fence.
Oh, nice.
I know. It's not my it's the fence that's perpendicular to my fence.
Oh, so it's a small victory.
Yeah, it was a very small.
So another neighbor's having to deal with it.
No, it's his own fence now.
Oh, it's his own.
It's perpendicular coming out of my fence, the fence that I built.
So he probably figured out, oh, I'm pissing Matt off.
I used to get really like, he had a son that would like pitch balls, and they would hit my fence, and it would be like this like little annoyance, like, why are you pitching balls at my fence? And the other kid's clearly not hitting them, and where's it gonna fucking go? Like,
kid can't hit.
You know, at one point I came out and I told his son, I was like, please don't throw your balls at my fence. I built that fence. I don't want to have to replace it.
Right.
Like, I built the fucking fence.
It's
the fence that you're shitting on right now. So it's like, it's also fucking.
Well, that's his parents' fault, you know, because you should have been like, hey, like, that's his fence. You don't.
Right.
It's on his property.
Respect the, you know.
Respect.
I realize that you think this fence has been here since you were ever born, but I actually fucking built it.
I mean, that reminded me of like.
Cheers.
Yeah. I mean, my as a kid, just not understanding that, like where I lived and grew up, for probably the first 12 years of my life, we had no neighbors. Like, it was just farmland, and we had one that I would ride my 4-wheeler to, and I had a certain path I would always take, you know, to get to his house to see my friend. And then probably around 93-ish, 94, another couple bought 1 acre in between our properties, but it was right along the path I always rode through the woods, you know, to get to his house. And I remember at one point, the owner of the new property, you know, very nicely, you know, stopped me on the 4-wheeler and said, hey, could you stop driving your 4-wheeler through our property? But in my mind, it was kind of like, who the fuck are you? I've been doing this since was like 8 years old. Right. But now when as an adult, I go, oh yeah, that really was a reasonable request.
But at the time you were mad.
But not mad, but it's just one of those things like, I'm not changing my ways. I've been doing this for years. You know?
Right.
Where I grew up, the neighbors that lived next door to my mom are the same neighbors. Well, the son now has a house. Both the parents died, but known them since I was 3 years old. That's, you know, my mom has been living there since I was 3 years old. So that's 58 years, and we, for the most part, got along really great. My mom is one of those people she's not afraid to tell you what she thinks, or if you piss her off, she's going to tell you. She's just one of those people.
Would not have expected that.
Oh yeah, she's one of those people.
I kid.
Okay. But one day, it was a Sunday. During the summer, she made me pull all these. You got to help me pull this weeds and ivy off this fence, and I'm a plant. I go, well, why do I have to do it? It's like, what? I go, okay. And I wanted to go play football and baseball. I wanted to play. It's summer. It's my summertime. So we pull all day long, pull all these weeds off the fence, and she plants these flowers, all this different stuff. Well, the next day I get woken up by this bulldozer.
Oh shit!
Taking out the fence that was the property line between our foot. They were going to build a pool, so they tore. It's the very next day, tore all her flowers up, tore everything up.
Wow!
Just plowed the thing apart to get the bulldozer in there, and I'm like going, my mom just lost it. And she went. I mean, they built the fence and put everything back up, but I'm like going. And my main thing was so I wasted a whole day pulling those weeds.
Exactly. Yeah.
And she was like, I don't think she was happy with me, but it was like, you know, I had to look at it from my point of view.
Yeah.
but it was like all this ivy and shit that was back, pickleweed or ice plant, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, but the very next day, they didn't even tell us. We had no idea they were building a pool.
I mean, that would have been a helpful thing. I would have blamed your neighbors. Like, hey, a heads up, and would have gotten my mom off my ass. Like yesterday, they're gonna play football.
I think I was only 8. I was probably like 10, something like that. But it was like,
yeah.
I just remember
toys were still made of tin.
My room was right there where the fence, it's like, what the hell is that? And it was like 7 a.m. too. It's the summer.
Oh,
the summer of Jack.
The summer of Jack.
But
all right,
anyway,
we've kept this going long enough, and if we keep going any much
anyway,
longer,
if you have a fence and you're sharing a fence with your neighbor, be kind.
Yeah, rewind.
Be respectful of the fence. That could be the title of the episode.
And sometimes walls have to come down, in order to make way for pools.
Well, the title is I Don't Listen.
I don't listen.
It's either that or we hate people. Merry Christmas.
I like that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Merry Christmas. We hate you.
Merry Christmas. We hate you. Yeah.
Anyway, this went on 25 minutes longer than we had planned, but
we did.
We'll be back after the first of the year, 2024. Everyone have a safe holiday, safe New Year's. We say this every year, don't drink and drive. Call an Uber. Call a friend.
Don't fucking drink and podcast.
Come pick you up, or no matter what state you're in. But seriously, don't drink and drive. It's not worth killing yourself or someone else.
Pass the keys to me.
Yeah, pass the keys to me, and don't park in Matt's parking space.
Fucking A, get out of Jack's yard as well. And if you're gonna park there, give him some fucking doobs.
Yeah, exactly. Spread the wealth.
I want everybody to think about Jack in the shower, wondering how long he's been there, and asking his wife why she hasn't stopped him.
She didn't care. She didn't care about me. She was letting me die. Let me drown.
Sydney, how long has it been? It's
like 30 seconds.
5 minutes have gone by. You're like,
I think it was like 3. It was hours. I think she was fucking with me and turned the clock back.
Yeah.
Or whatever. Anyway, I don't want to go down that road again. If we thank all our patrons, we thank everyone who joined us in the chat. If you'd like to become a patron, go to jjack.com, become a patron, blah, blah, blah.
We'd like to thank Star Trek Joanne.
Okay, you want to do it?
Star Trek Joanne. Ed, the creepy, kooky Christmas card carrying clown of a letter carrier.
All right, that's 2.
Eckhart Rickner Glatfelter the third. Merry Christmas to you old movie theater. And Maggie, your Merry Christmas.
That was from Wonderful Life.
Magnificent. There we go. Maggie, Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, Maggie.
Mary. Has that been on yet?
Should be.
We've talked about.
No, I mean I haven't seen it. So.
Oh, you haven't seen it, yeah.
I mean I've seen it, but I haven't seen it.
Some lines to look out for if you haven't watched It's a Wonderful Life this year, and why haven't you? Look for the lines. See, it still smells like pine needles around here. And we'll wait for you, baby. Those are some of my favorites. I hope they bring a smile and warmth to your heart.
I always liked the girl that liked him that he didn't go out with.
Oh,
the actress.
Violet?
Violet, yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Family Man.
Just saying, Violet was an attractive actress.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He was gonna go up with her in the woods.
Probably not too much now.
No. I think she's dead.
That's kind of what I mean.
She did something. I can't remember.
Porn. She did porn.
Lots of porn.
But it is like 1930s
She had an OnlyFans
porn,
account at 90.
It was just like
she taught Ron
underwear.
Jeremy.
Anyway, I'll look it up, and then 2024 we'll talk about her.
Okay.
Thanks for joining us. We'll be back. Thanks. Hasta luego. And the Chargers are losing 63-7.
Damn. Whoa.
63-7.
Well, I'd like to say I'm surprised, but
and I picked the Chargers tonight. I'm this close with CJ. I'm like, but anyway, that's all we got. Hasta luego and goodbye.
Great show, kids. One in a snowflake.
Yeah. Merry Christmas.
Snow